So, good evening everyone. My last video about breeding, or trying to breed a family of birds, caused a great conversation, I have to say. I actually enjoyed the conversation, and you know, some people were saying I was being insulted and disregarded, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. These videos are my opinion, they're nobody else's, and I stand by what I say on the videos. A bit of conversation around not being able to breed a family around unproven birds. Well, the actual fact of the matter is you can breed a family around unproven birds, and people do it all the time. And I'm going to give you very practical examples of unproven birds producing birds that do very, very well. My videos last time was really talking about starting to build a family from scratch, okay? So when people are starting to build families or starting to try lines or trying something new, in the most cases you try to get children of performers, okay? And there's two reasons for this. The first one is the performer themselves are usually an astronomical price if they're really what you're looking for. And the second reason is practically throughout the pigeon sport, no matter what genre you're racing, sprint, middle distance, long distance, marathon, whatever, generally a rule of thumb is that the performance skips a generation. So that means when you have a performance pigeon, cock or hen, what will usually be the next performance in the line of birds, it would actually be their grandchild. So if it's a hen, it'd be the granddaughter. If it's a cock, it'd be the grandson. And there's a lot of reasons for this. Personally, my own thoughts on it are it's got to do with the genetics and how performance genes are passed. I think they're sexually they're transmitting on the sex genes of the birds, but that's another story. So to say you can't breed a family of birds from non-performance pigeons, in my eyes, is wrong, and it's my opinion. That's what these videos are. They're my opinion, okay? And I stand by them all, as I said. You know, I do stand by them all. But the way it works is, when people, I'm going to talk about established fanciers first, not somebody starting from scratch. We're talking about established fancier, and established fanciers, what they do is they bring in children of performance pigeons from somebody else's loft into their own, and they pair it with one of their own established family. So they brought in a child, an untested child of a performance pigeon in most cases. Or the child is untested in most cases. It's rare that it's actually tested. So an untested child of a performance pigeon, and they pair it to their own family. And then what happens is the children are tested, and the grandchildren usually race out well because the established family should be successful. You know, they're established fanciers, successful fanciers I'm talking about, and that's why they bring in the child, because it's normally a grandchild of the performance board that runs through again. And then what they do is, if that cross has worked, they work the children of the cross back into the family. And one world-renowned fancier that actually does that is Jeff and Catherine Coopers. They've had umpteen videos talking about this. And then we talk about inbreeding. That's another part. Inbreeding is used very successful with the same fanciers, Jeff and Catherine Cooper. They will certainly inbreed their best performance pigeon to their children and retain those untested youngsters inbred for stock. It's what they do. They've said it on umpteen videos, so it does happen. Now, what I was talking about was establishing a family from scratch, from zero. So I'm going to use my example as in me, when I started having a look at these long distance marathon kind of pigeons. My aim when I started out was not to go to the auctions and buy a €50, €30, €100 pigeon. I wanted to go for direct children of performance pigeons, mainly because it skips a generation. That's it. It's plain and simple. Okay, plain and simple. And that's what. So and you can't establish a family like that. You know, after the video the other night and all the conversation that went on, several people have actually contacted me. Yes, there's a lot of people out there that say basket must select, basket must select, basket must select. And that's a great principle. That is an absolutely fantastic principle. Winners to winners, winners to winners, winners to winners. And it works. It's not the only way. But what you end up in that scenario is most of the time it becomes cross. It's rare that a family is developed in that way. So I'm talking about developing a family line that can be successful. And the most important thing you have to start with are the first pigeons you bring into the family line. The first pigeons, the base pigeons you start with, must be of the calibre you want. It's no good buying grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren of said birds, bar they're inbred or line bred. If they're inbred grandchildren, you know, they have their place. Most certainly. It's certainly what I've sold from the loft. It's certainly what I believe, that inbred grandchildren can be successful. And that's how I've done it with the line breeding that I've practiced here. And I do believe that it will be successful. So much so that I can actually state that some of the pigeons I've given out have done Tadney and Penzance this year as yearlings. Some of the pigeons sent over to the UK, won the Polish Lion, double grandchildren of Polish national raced out 540 miles, carted and fed. The Padfield Lion that I've bred has been given down to Galway and has been raced successfully down to Galway. So the lions I have here are successful. Yes, I haven't been successful with them, and I'm not going to stand here and say I have. But the people I've given them to have been successful with them, and that's what's important. It proves the breeding methods I use work. Okay, that's the first thing. And because the breeding methods I use work, they can be used by anybody. You know, I'm not saying anybody hasn't looked into this or looked into the same information I have. I don't know who's done what. I'm just putting out there that's what I do and what I like to do and what I try to do and what I think works. It's all about me. That's it, in a nutshell. And I learned quite a bit about, I like reading about stuff, I like researching about stuff, I like finding what way to do things and what way is the best thing. And the family business has to do with the thing I talked about last week was the genetic coefficient. Okay, so research shows, if you have a performance animal, whatever it is, cattle, whatever, you need to bring the genetics as close to the original as possible. You need to bring they say the genetic coefficient must be brought up to about 40 to 43%. And you can Google this, the information is all out there, the research is there. Okay? And the way to do this in a breeding plan is, like I said the other night, you take an original bird, whatever you're using, a direct child of a performer, inbred children of, if you can get inbred children, that's where you start, as far as I'm concerned. Father-daughter matings, mother-son matings, 4 to 6 of them, 2 or 3 pair, half brothers and sisters back together, instant family. The key is breeding down all the time, like I said the other night. It's not about breed, race. Breed by all means. But race, once you have, like for me, I would say hold those birds, especially if they're youngsters. Hold them in keep them flying out for 2 years, train them nightly if you want to, don't raise them, breed off them. But while you're breeding off them, the important thing is to breed down the line. So you breed off your yearlings all the time, or your 2-year-olds, whatever you want to do, you know, yearlings or 2-year-olds. But you need enough of them to have a go at this. And that's what I'm talking about. If you start with a small number of birds that are of exceptional quality, you're already raising your standards. If you have 40 birds, I had 40 pair of stock birds here this year, but they were all individual lions. I was trying to maintain the quality. Now, a lot of questions have come up on how do you pick the best pigeon to put back into the breeding loft. Well, really, that's down to you as an individual and what you like. Comments that are made when it comes to do tail down, back down, colour, Look, the aim of any loft, in my eyes, should be to be producing performance pigeons that can be bred from. That's always the aim. That's always my aim. Yes, I was only on the road to doing it. I was this year when I was first year having to go to internationals. So be it, life changes. Okay, I've rolled with it. I'm happy with it and I'm continuing to do this. I like doing this, so I'm going to. So the aim of any loft should be to produce their own performance pigeons that can be used for breeding. Okay? But to do this, you have to get to that point where you have enough of them to perform. So if you start with, we'll just say 3 pair of pigeons. 3 pair of pigeons, like I said, they're like theoretically 32 youngsters. 4 pair of pigeons, 32 youngsters, you know, a year. That's not a lot of birds to work with. But if you know, some say I have to race them down, you know, only be left with 2 or 3. Look, it's horses for courses. We all do what we like to do. So for me, when I was picking the birds to go into the stock loft to pair back to the originals, I'll give you an example of how I did it. I'll talk about the Jim Donaldson line here. I won't even talk about the Padfield line because I've talked about them a lot. I'll talk about the Jim Donaldson line. Jim Donaldson originally sent me 2 pigeons. Now, I personally believe you need 4 pigeons to start a family. So but they say you can do it with less. 3 is actually the optimal number. 1 cock, 2 hens. But that's another side. So Jim Donaldson sent me 2 pigeons. And I got the 2 pigeons over. We talked about a hen and a cock, turned out to be 2 hens. Cracking hens. Okay? So the first year, because there were 2 hens, I didn't have anything else off Jim Donaldson, so I crossed those boards with other boards. One of the hens actually produced the 52nd IHU NFC Open Talbany pigeon young board in 2016, I think it was 2016. But she was paired with a Frank K cock, and the cock was down for 879 pigeons. So Jim Donaldson's the parents of the board, both successful, 589 miles. Grandparents all the way at 589 miles, and then the Frank K boards out to Tarbes, Barcelona, Palos, 870 miles. Where do you get it? And they produced a pigeon that was 52nd. That was a cross. Okay, that's fine. Frank K boards are very inbred. The Jim Donaldson boards, not so much, but close to bred. Okay. So then Jim sent me over in 2017. I got 2 cocks up. I got to the 2 hens and I paired them. And I produced, I don't know, the 2 pair, I think I produced 15 or 16 youngsters last year. So in 2017, the end of 2017, early 2018 this year, I needed to decide what 4 pigeons. So I produced 4, we'll just say 4 rounds of eggs. I'd say 3 actually. 3 pair of eggs off each of those pair of pigeons, giving me 6 youngsters off each. So I think I actually had 50-50, so I had 3 hens and 3 cocks from each pair. Okay? So when going through the boards, I had certain criteria. So for me, I'm not worried about the fact that these boards are unproven because they're children of performers from where they've come from. That's hands down 100% the children of performers. So now what I want to do is I take the grandchildren of performers that I bred here and put them back to the children of performers. So I took a hen and a cock out of each nest and I put them back to the opposite parents. And the selection criteria was this. I liked the boards to have balance. I liked the hens to be small, and I liked the cocks to be medium, and I liked the small even. And in actual fact, one of the cocks, and this is why I'm doing this example, one of the cocks, who I thought was a hen, beautiful hen, apple-bodied, balance, everything there that you liked. It's what you like, so it's what I liked. And I wanted to keep the board small. I didn't want to be breeding big pigeons. Okay? So I took the hens, and what I thought was a hen, a month before I paired up, turned out to be a cock. So actually what I used was, he was the smallest cock out of the 3 brothers that I wanted to pick from to go into the loft. And I'd actually picked a medium cock. I thought I had 4 cocks and 2 hens in that, out of that 6. It turned out a 3 and 3. And this was just thought to be the second cock in the second nest. Just a small cock. Thought it was a hen. So actually I changed my mind at that point and I put that smaller cock into the stock loft. Okay? Haven't regretted a thing. They produced lovely, medium to small pigeons, exactly what I was after. Again, I'm not worried about the non-performance aspect because now I'm still producing grandchildren of performance pigeons, but I'm also producing them through great-grandchildren. Okay? And that was the key for me. So I always keep performance pigeons on the grandparent stage and breed down the line. You still have to breed down the line. It's imperative, I think. Okay? So that worked out well for me. And that was my selection criteria. It really is. You might like something different than I do. I might like something different than the next person. It's all down to your own stockmanship and what you feel is good to breed from. Okay? Because there are unsuccessful lofts out there that breed from everything every year and just hit and miss. And that's what it is. Okay? It's just hit and miss. And that's normal as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what fellas want to do. Bully for them. This is what I wanted to do. I'm going to give you a second example. I'm going to give you a second example of the Padfield pigeons. I only had children of Padfields Invincible. I didn't have any of the other Padfield boards, just that one cock, direct children to him. And when I paired the half-brother sisters together, I ended up with double grandchildren. And actually some of the double grandchildren were quite big, and some of them were not so big. They were nice medium pigeons, what I wanted. But a couple of the original hens were very roomy, and I mean roomy hens. They were big, they were on the big stuff. And I actually was concerned about this. So when I took a couple of the double grandsons, I made sure I got the smaller to medium grandsons to pair them back to their original daughters, the aunties that were very big and broody, I'll call them, roomy. They were big hens. And I was actually worried about it, but honest to God, the children then from those mating, so double grandsons to daughters of Padfields Invincible, and double granddaughters to sons of Padfields Invincible. The double granddaughters incidentally were very small. They were small to medium apple-bodied pigeons, lovely pigeons. But the double grandsons back to the antics. So always maintaining that there were grandchildren, but also great-grandchildren on the other line of the tree. And that's how I was line breeding that line. Up to 2018, I'd actually got it at one point where I had Padfields Invincible as the grandparent, great on one side, and then on the other side, great-grandparent, great-great-grandparent, great-great-great-grandparent. So in 4 generations on that pedigree, Padfields Invincible was there, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in 4 generations. Really concentrating, hopefully, his genetics. That's all I was after. You know, I don't have fads about wings. I don't have fads about tails. I don't like the tail going up in the air. That's just me. I like it either straight tilted, slightly down, or down, hard down. That's fine by me. I really don't have fads. I have one fad: feet first. The first feet that I land aboard, they're the ones I want. I don't care if they're big, small, fat, skinny. Don't care. You know, but again, I'm breeding my boars to keep them small, so they will all be small because that's the way I'm breeding them. That's my option. That's my type. That's what I like. But that's not to say that one of the bigger pigeons wouldn't come first and I'd neglect it. Feet first. That's the only thing. That's the only criteria I have for boars that are sent out of the loft. Feet first. You know, because we all know winners come in all shapes and sizes. So, you can breed a family of pigeons from unproven pigeons. You just have to start with the right pigeons. And they must, in my eyes, be direct children of successful performance pigeons. That's it. That's the only criteria at your chosen distance. So if you're going to do sprint, middle distance, long distance, marathon, whatever, your chosen distance, okay? Have a go. But the problem is it takes time. It does take time, and it's 5 years, you know, and it is 5 years work. I'm in my 4th year of doing this, and I'm stopping. You know, I'm stopped now doing this for my 4 years in. Like, and honestly, God, I'm gutted, but it is what it is. I'm just moving on now, and I'm going to carry on. And when the changes happen, I'll either be somewhere else, or I'll be here, and I'll be starting it all over again in exactly the same way. Exactly the same way, with unproven, untested children of performance boards. That's what I'll be doing again, no matter where I start again. Here in the next year or 2 years rather, the next 2 years, or away in 2 or 3 years when I sell. That's it. Untested, unperformance pigeons, but children of performance pigeons can form a family. Can, absolutely can. It's just about patience and time. I know we're going to have a few conversations about this, and that's fine. I'm all up for that. Have a nice evening.